Yeah, I'm going to tell a quick story here about Noram Lithium. I've only been with the company about 5 months. I literally never heard about this company until last November when someone phoned me up and said, Pete, would you like to come and help our team move the asset forward? And it's always hard following a great story like Lake Resources with a market cap of $3 billion. Our market cap is $65 million, cash about $18 million, so our enterprise value is about $48 million. But I was watching Steve's presentation, and I was looking at their NPV, their IRR of their Apache project. And I'll kind of go through a bit of metrics about our project and our mine life and what our asset will bring in the valuation and the CapEx. And we actually stand quite even though they're much more advanced on the scale. We'll run through the project. Again, I've been chasing projects in Argentina, Brazil, French Guiana, and the northern Canada, the Arctic, and literally 2 hours up the street from Nevada, halfway to Reno on a paved highway with power lines running right through the middle of our site, immediately adjacent to the only lithium producer in the United States, Albemarle's Silver Peak project, is our projects in some clay. So I didn't even have to go chasing projects around the world. I just had to drive up the highway in Nevada. I'm a mining kid, fifth generation, so I've been in this industry for a long time, and I have a lot of forward-looking statements. So pay attention. I might say something that's a little bit down the road. I'm not going to go into lithium. It's a critical mineral. A recent investor who I texted about 2 months ago, and I said I needed some cash to push this asset forward. And in my life, I've raised about $300 million, and all those assets took weeks and months to find the capital to even potentially put in a project. This took a text, a quick meeting, and I had about $17 million, overpriced to the market, no warrant, no finder's fees, and no commission. We're tightly held, so I'm not going to go in about the market. And that investor said, Peter, with your 31,000 tons of lithium carbonate equivalent, when you get to production, say in about 4 years, forward-looking statement, the market's going to need about 100 of your projects even to meet the supply crunch. That's going to be seen here on the right-hand side. So I'm going to skip right to our asset. And we heard a lot of great points about, everyone's chasing the EV revolution of what's happening in the lithium sector. I worked in gold and precious metals and base metals for 35 years since the 80s when I finished mining school. And it's great being in this perfect storm or this super cycle of lithium that's going to be going on for a couple of decades. I mentioned most of these things on the page here. This number here, the 2.67 billion, 8% after-tax, 52% IRR for a 40-year mine life with a 528 CapEx, which 100 million of that is really just contingency, is based on $14,250 per ton LCE. I was in Toronto last week talking to some of the benchmark, the experts in the lithium sector. Their forecast for lithium until 2031 and maybe a couple more years is 17,000. So our NPV is probably maybe 3.5 billion. We got enough resources for 200 years. The study was done at 40 years. Anything after 20 really is a bunch of funny numbers. We're actually, as Steve mentioned earlier, everybody wants lithium faster and quicker, and they don't want a 40-year mine life with only 31,000 tons. We're looking in our PFS study, which we're advancing this year, is to really accelerate that. And can we double production? Can we, of course, CapEx is going to go up. We're not sure what the IRR will be, but the market wants it. And again, the market needs about 100 projects like ourselves. I'll talk about the cash position. We've got 17 million-ish in the bank right now, no debt. We have extremely low burn rate. There's really 5 people in the company, and I'm the new guy. Most of the people in the company have been here since day one when the company was staked in 2016 in Clayton Valley, Nevada. We're expected to have no additional dilution. The latest investor that I brought in for basically, he wanted it all. He said, how much you need? I said, I need about 17 million. Through this year, through PFS, through pilot plant stage, through to get all the way to DFS over the next couple of years, so no more dilution. I'm not going to the market. And literally every week somebody wants to give us $10 or $20 million or be a strategic investor in our company, but not only ours, a lot of groups in the industry. Management's got a good stake. And funny enough, this stock used to be a 5-cent, 10-cent stock about a year and a half ago. And the founders still have most of their shares. So it's really interesting to see they're believers in the asset. And really, we don't have a single institution yet that has bought into this deal, other than the recent group I brought in about a month and a half ago, which really happened, which is the new shareholder. I joined the company. I texted my friend on LinkedIn. He goes, Pete, what are you doing? I'm in lithium. How much do you need? I'll set you up with a guy in New York. Had one meeting. 2 weeks later, we had the deal done. And I told him I wanted it at an overprice to it, so he gave me a nickel. We're trading at 77 cents. And we didn't issue any finder's fee or commission. Share structure, I'll dive in a couple of seconds, but 90 million is going to stay 90 million for the next couple of years. We got a small team. We're going to expand the team. We need help as we expand this and push it forward on the metallurgical side, engineering side. It's going to be a very quick or very much more accelerated time. This company's never had any money until this year for the first time in its corporate history. Last year was its best year. This year, we think it's going to be even better. They did a big resource model. To the PEA, I joined a great board member from the U.S., from the United States joined. And again, on the right-hand side, we think this year is really execute our plan, de-risk, re-rate. And again, we're a market capitalization of 65. The company before us is $3 billion. If you look at their presentation, their metrics on their catchy project and put us side by side, it's interesting numbers of what we have for a little tiny company that is really, we're at the PEA stage, not as far down the road as Steve mentioned earlier. This is last year, really. Resource, got the engineering group to do a PEA, came out in December. We're going to go push forward to PFS this year. Adam Falkoff just recently joined. I'll talk about him. He's the president of the Rare Earth Association of the United States of America. Really just someone you want to drink wine with when you're U.S. to actually help on the de-risking or a permitting side of the asset. And a bunch of other stuff that happened last year. But really, this is the big year. I think we traded 70-some cents. The financing that we just did was at 82.5 with no warrant for 14.5 million US. We sold 1% royalty in the project. And I do a lot of comparisons in this presentation to our neighbor, specifically because when we did this study, we want to go apples to apples. They're advanced. They're at a PFS stage. We're at a PEA stage. Not much else really to say. 88, we're going to be staying at 88 for the next couple of years. This is the financing we just did about a month and a half ago. I've said everything on here. They wanted up to 19.9. They have a right to maintain 19.9 for 2 years. We sold them a 1% GOR, or gross overriding royalty, on the project. They bought another $9 million. Their senior co-chair, Blair Levinsky, actually bought 500,000 US of it. They want more of it. I gave them $1.50. Out of $1.50, they have 30 days if they want to top up for an additional, I think it's an additional $8 or $9 million, but really they can only get about 7 because they'll be over 19.9. And again, no warrants, which is pretty good in this industry. So Anita and Sandy, they've been here since day one. Sandy's a broker. He retired and he got bored of golfing in Palm Springs. He came back and he's been with the project since day one. He's really kind of not stepping aside, but slowly kind of letting me help accelerate on raising the capital, accelerating on the engineering, and working with the guys in Nevada to push the project and really try to bring new people, smarter people than us, because as you can see by Lake Resources team, they got an exceptional team. You need that type of team to take this asset to the next level. Brad, he actually staked the project, drilled every single hole. He built all the resource models. We announced him as VP a couple months ago. He's actually on site right now. We got 2 more holes. Really, we're just expanding the resource even more, even though we already got 200 years of resources. Art and Cyrus have been with the company again since day one. It's nice to have Cyrus, ex-partner in an accounting firm, corporate governance and auditing, et cetera. Art's been with a number of juniors. And Adam, president of the Rare Earth Association of Rare Earth in U.S., really knows everybody we need to know down here to advance the project through BLM. I've mentioned most of the history. The Clayton Valley, 2 hours up the road, next to the only lithium producer, 100% owned except for the 1% GOR. Right next to a highway, picture deposit 3 kilometers by 1 kilometer by 100 meters thick, right at surface. There's no overburden, maybe, I think it's the strip ratio is 0.07 to 1. So basically every bit of dirt you put in a scoop, you throw through the roller crushers is going to go through this process facility. And we've only done base case metallurgical studies. The good thing about our project, where we're at, there's a lot of projects that factor by American Lithiums and Lithium Americas. TLC, American Lithium, Ioneer, and right next door is Cypress. They've all spent millions of dollars trying to understand how to extract the clay, the lithium from the clay with either disaggregating with 30% water, adding sulfuric acid. I'm not a metallurgist, I'm not going to get into that, but it's really interesting that they're spending all the money. We'll kind of follow them at coattails and push forward and really probably pay copycat, especially to Cyprus next door to us. Really, here we are in the middle of Nevada. Right here is Cyprus, which I'm going to talk about in a second. We have a high-grade core that goes up to 3,000 ppm, and then really every bit of dirt pays, or in other words, it's higher grade than 400 ppm lithium at the project. Resource, we got lots of it. We got enough for a couple hundred years. We're really taking right now, we're doing 12 holes, 175 million tons of this 827 is going to be put into the measured and indicated. We could drill this off and probably pay do our ton per ton for the half of the players in Nevada, but there's no need spending any more money. We got enough for a long time. Grade on the left, high-grade core, our starter pit. We have 11-phase mining program on this thing over the next 40 years, hopefully a lot less if we do re-engineer it this year. And this is the classification, measured, indicated, inferred, and we're drilling right here and right here just to make a little bit more brown and red or measured and indicated for the PFS. Again, when this was originally done, the base case is at $9,500 per ton. The numbers here are done at $14,250 per ton. And right now the long-term forecast is 17. So maybe we're higher than 2.7, maybe we're 3 billion. Nice cost. I'll show a cost curve that I stole from Canaccord presentation that shows we're on the way good far part of the left-hand side of the chart, which we want to be. Nice IRR. These numbers will probably change as we go to PFS. We think they'll probably be very similar from the numbers we're looking at internally. Now, a little quick comparison. NORAM and Cyprus development. Cyprus development is a project that is immediately adjacent. In other words, the exact same deposit we have cut in half. We have the northwest port. They have the southeast portion. They're at the PFS stage. We think our numbers, and this is, again, now using 9,500, so we're a little bit less, only 1.3 billion. Which is unrealistic now because when the study was done, LCE was a lot lower in 2021. We're thinking of increasing this to 25 or 30,000 if we can. We got enough cash to kind of run through all these studies over the next couple of years. We're going to do a plan of ops and environmental, social, green initiatives over the next year, get a plan of ops and really try to accelerate this asset. This is Cyprus where their pit ends right here. This would continue right into ours, but really one day this could be a massive super pit. With two companies combined, their market cap is 250 to 300 million. Ours is about 65. It's the same asset. Our numbers, I think personally, are better, but everyone else thinks has their own opinion. This is at our Zeus project at $9,500 per ton. As you can see, these are a bunch of players. This is December. Really, our project stacks up extremely well when we compare ourselves to some of the peers. Our cost is extremely well against our peers in the industry, and we traded at a severe discount. Really, the company had no money. They've never marketed the story. They never got out. This year's going to change everything. We're going to accelerate the company on all fronts. There's the 3355. Again, this is PEA stage, not PFS. So we think, as we go forward, we're comfortable with this, but even if we reach $4,000 per ton and we put it over here where it should be, we're still in the nice part of the curve compared to what all the rest of players are in the LCE cost curve that I stole from Canaccord last year. Again, these numbers change every day. So our resources is 1.8. It's good to be, we could be over here. All we got to do is take some of this 3.89 million inferred, drill it off, upgrade it to the measured and indicated, and we'll be sitting right here next to Cyprus Development and American Lithium. But no point, we have enough already in our resource. And our market cap's about 64, 65, enterprise value 48. So going forward this year, I've mentioned all this stuff. We've got some money. We're in Nevada, the best place on the planet to be. We're just up the highway with paved road and access and power next to the only producer. We feel we're undervalued. That's for people to do their own judgment. This year, we're just finishing off the drill program in the next couple of days. Take 175, upgrade the measured and indicated. Really, we're going to do a pilot plant for maybe $2 million this year, but really we're looking at what is Cyprus doing next door on the same dirt. How's American Lithium doing? Lithium Americas, Ioneer, they all got this illite smectite clay stuff. I'm not a geologist, so it's the same clay. Specifically, it is 100% the same next door at Cyprus because we're adjoined. Do a PFS by December, hopefully it'll be October. and we'll advance some of the other initiatives, doing a plan of ops and expanding our team, and see how we can get a better value for the company. Again, we have a lot of people phoning every day how they can get involved, and we don't need their money. We need their support in the market. It's going to be a big year, the biggest year in our corporate history. And as our largest shareholder said, Mark Wellings, who's the co-chair of Waratah, the multi-billion-dollar fund, he says, Pete, just execute. You'll be taken out at a premium over the next year. We're glad to be shareholders. I think that's it. Yeah, there's my cell and my email. I answer everybody within an hour. I'd like to be the most receptive and most transparent and open executive at a mining company. I don't care when you phone me weekends or evenings. I'm here because I'm representing the shareholders. I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Minutes for maybe one or two questions. Anyone have any questions for Peter? Okay, well, I have a question.
Be gentle.
First of all, the last slide said 100% control.
Oh.
Sorry. Forget my name.
Oh, that should be like a 1% core there.
Huh? Is control ownership? Is that the same?
Yeah, we own the project except for 1% royalty that we sold to Waratah Capital. Lithium Royalty Corp, controlled by Ernie Ortiz of New York. They have 18 royalties in pretty much every project in the royalty space. And they did a lot of due diligence on our project in order to get that. They did a lot of work on the clay metallurgy side, because it's a new way to extract lithium from the clays. But it's the latest trend.
And then the other thing I want to talk about, touch on, is there was a map of Nevada, and maybe you talked about this, forgive me, but you had the Tesla emblem. What is that like a facility right there? Yeah,
that's a gigafactory just outside of Reno.
100% owned by Tesla.
It's interesting. I was talking to our largest shareholder, and he goes, got a good friend at Tesla, and who reports to Elon. And Elon has requested Tesla to go shopping in the U.S. and actually acquire operations, not just be the end user anymore. So it's good. Sometimes they're at the gate now, they find the concentrate, but they're actually out. I mean, they could buy us, they could buy our neighbor for $1 billion, which is pocket change for Elon. It's exciting that a lot of these groups like Ford, in Lake Resources, this investment they're making at the mine site. It's good to have Elon down the street. You know, if you can buy Twitter for $44 billion, you can buy us for chump change.
Awesome. Thanks, Peter.
Awesome. Thank you.